Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed by guests on Not of This World podcast are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views, beliefs, or positions of the hosts or the podcast as a whole. Our goal is to encourage thoughtful conversation and dialogue, even when perspectives differ.
In a world where truth hides in the shadows, faith still shines through. Where the seen and unseen collide, when everyone else is of the world, we are the Not of This World podcast.
I was going to have Alex Jones. He gave like a warning the other day about how there going to be like a draft implemented. And I'm like, I'm not trying to like say there's like, I mean, did you?
Well, not with Alex Jones, but I've just heard that. And then people are like, well, Barron Trump should go first, you know, since he's so tall. But then they try to say, oh, he's too tall. And like his dad bailing on the Vietnam War because of, bone spurs. Like, they'll never send their kids to the wars they choose to send us to. That's why I tell my kids, like, dude, don't crap on the guys that join the military, but also just don't join. Like, nothing against people that have served. Honestly, like, hindsight, I think a lot of guys that have come back and they're like, yeah, you want to see the weapons of mass destruction we found in Iraq? And then they'll show pictures of their boys, like, standing on, like, stacks of bars of gold. Like, that's what we came for. Or, other crap, just to disrupt some country that, like, is literally on the other side of the planet. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, no wonder they hate us, like, pretty much everywhere. It's sad. And then the World Cup was cool because people came here and it's like, like, Americans are pretty cool, I think, but I'm biased. But also, like, when they come here, they're realizing, like, they're kind of like everywhere else, like, our leadership's just compromised. Like, Europe's already kind of starting to see that too with, they're just mostly just with, like, if you just took the immigration stuff alone, let's not talk about the free speech issues that they're having in, like, the European Union, just the immigration. Like, they are, like, in Ireland right now, did you see the guy getting, like, trying to get a behead an Irishman? Some, like, foreigner-looking, doctor-engineer-looking dude, like, was literally trying to behead a guy in Northern Ireland, which is the UK, technically. But they're up in arms over there right now, like a few weeks ago, because the video went viral. Like, this dude is literally, like, on top of a guy, and he lived somehow, too. This Irishman lived. And a doctor-engineer type is on top of him, like, literally trying to, like, chop his head off with maybe, like, something dull, or I don't know. It's a camera shot's far away, so you can't see, like, I can't really tell, like, what he's holding or wielding. Like, he mortally wounded the dude, but he lived. But, like, they're up in arms because they're just like, they just don't care. Yeah. Like, the leadership doesn't care. And they realize that coming here with the World Cup. They're like, dude, America's a pretty damn chill. Their government leadership just doesn't give a frick about, like, what the people actually want. And so they're realizing, like, Americans are kind of in the same boat as us in Europe. So, I don't know. Something will have to come to a head at some point.
Do you feel like that's where we're heading when they opened up the borders?
Yeah, that's definitely.
Or do you think that was for? Because kind of what I started feeling like part of the reason they let immigrants in also was because of the population decline.
Yeah, well, they say that, but they also make it because the population's declining because they're letting the foreigners. It's like one of those, like, cycles. Like, if these people are taking jobs, they're being violent. Like, why would I? And then on the backside, because the cost of living's going up and the middle class is just dying everywhere we go. Like, they're just doing that. It's kind of like a reciprocal thing. Like, you look at social media and, like, the Gen Zers are like, they have completely given up hope of owning a house. Like, they just, all the comments about stuff that has to do with, like, interest rates or mortgages or just housing rates, blah, 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 anything to do with housing in general. The Gen Zers get on there and they're, like, just berating, like, just their comments are honestly sad and pitiful because they're hopeless. They literally think, like, we're just consigned to renting. Only if maybe the boomers just completely die all at once and flood the market. But the problem is twofold. First, they're kind of a big generation gap, and they don't always just jump into selling their house to go into, like, downsizing or anything else. It's actually a threefold problem. Second, they're not even retiring still. And then third, we got BlackRock and the likes just gobbling up those properties, especially if they become, like, flooded with houses for sale, so that'll tank prices because no one's going to buy because the market's going to be flooded. The BlackRock types will grab them up because when the market does that, the interest rates go up. They're not going to come down to help people get into homes. And the sad thing is they can control all this. Like, they control the value, which is printing money out of the treasury. They control the interest rates just arbitrarily. Like, it's just a number thing to them. They don't want to help the people. Interest rates are still really high, but we keep hearing from Fox News that because Trump's in office, oh, the market's doing so well and inflation's so low and job markets are doing so good. Then why are we still struggling? Why is credit card debt higher than it's ever been just to make ends meet? People are taking smaller, more menial vacations than they used to. If you used to do Disneyland or a big thing that was a $5,000 to $10,000 trip, you're gonna downsize it to a $2,000 to $3,000 annual trip, and vice versa. You see this with the car market. Brand new cars are just sitting in lots because people that used to buy new are saying, I'm not getting my value, and the prices are conflated. So I'm going to go in and buy the year to year old ones. So the people that would go normally to buy the year to 2 year old ones, used ones, they're stepping down into the 2 to 5 year used vehicles. And everyone, it's just a trickle down in a negative way. And people don't understand this. They think that, oh yeah, they just go on Fox News or whatever they're going to do, and they're going to look at everything and think everything's hunky dory. But it's you don't really. They just feed on the lies, and then they just regurgitate into their little groups, their little family dinners and stuff. And there's just no critical thinking in our country. There's really not in the world, when you really think about it, because a lot of the people that criticize America, they're just super liberal, and so they think, I don't know.
Well, where are you basing your where you? I mean, I'm not trying to argue with you.
No,
I'm just
yeah.
saying, I could say the same thing if I was to say just the direct people I interact with on a daily basis. Maybe people aren't critical thinkers, but I do know the majority of the people I hang out with are fairly intelligent. I'll include you in that.
Yeah. So
I just don't know.
Well, the thing with intelligence is to be able to take stuff that you don't believe or that you vehemently believe against, and then actually weigh it, questioning just the narrative. And people just are so used to what they're used to. So this is why you have a lot of dysfunction with families. We've talked about how we are currently no contact with my parents, and this is kind of a thing. Boomers are thinking that there's a fad with our generation of just going no contact. What they don't realize is that their generation, as a whole, kind of sucks. And I'm not saying boomers suck. I'm just saying as a whole, they kind of have. Why would we ever label them the me generation if they didn't deserve it? If the shoe fits. Now, there's a plethora of boomers that are great people. They're great grandparents. They're great parents. They did a good job. And, I'm not perfect. And, there will be things that me and my kids get to talk about when they are raising kids. Dad, you really messed up here, 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 and here. You know what? My only thing is I just want to be able to say, yeah, you're right. Just own it. Yeah. It's the same thing when you're presented with information about, your political party or a narrative that's pushed by whatever source of information, wherever it's coming from, to really start deep diving and looking into it introspectively and then externally too. So where is my bias resistant to believing this truth because it's counter to what I want to believe? But also where is, and this is why the Bible and the Word of God is so imperative, because there's things of both political parties, I think, that are biblical, and then there's definitely things that aren't. I think a lot of conservatives leadership says we're going to do all these amazing things, but then they lie. So lying is very flagrantly a sin. So we said all these things when Trump came into office, and we're going to drain the swamp, we're going to do all this stuff, but none of that's happened. Doge is a joke. We've gone over this stuff. The Epstein stuff is a joke, and he even rescinded that. Let's move on from that. I'm dude, you ran on this. What the hell? So he's a liar. He's a liar. He's a flagrant liar.
Let's get into a first video.
Sorry,
Let's get in the first video, Trev.
Sure.
Just because I think that what you're getting at is actually a perfect setup for this first video.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, nothing says honesty like taking the fifth, huh, Doc? Let's try something. What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color is the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege. You know that. Your lawyers sitting behind you now shifting nervously in their chairs. They know it. This isn't about the Constitution. This isn't about the law. This is about contempt. Contempt for this body and contempt for the American people. But I think I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to answer questions. It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic, you got rich, didn't you? You got rich while people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich. And not only were you doing that, you were using federal employees with taxpayer money to apply for and solicit cash prizes for you personally, cash prizes totaling over $1 million. You did all of that during the pandemic, didn't you? That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
You know what I can't quite figure out is that why you were so obsessed with it, because you're already rich. I mean, and your scheme worked here. I mean, your net worth now is north of $12 million. You got over $1 million in cash awards during COVID, during a 12-month, 24-month span during COVID. $1 million you knocked down in cash money using federal resources. Now you're worth more than $12 million. You've got a pension that in its first year paid out north of $400,000 a year. 1 million people dead, you're getting rich. 1 million people dead, you're using federal employees to get cash awards for you. 1 million people dead, and you're here taking the fifth because you don't want to admit that what really happened in all that time was a multi-month, multi-year course of self-dealing. Isn't that true, Dr. Fauci?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Yeah, well, silence is admission. And here's the real thing. At the end of the day, it wasn't just about the money, really, was it? It was really about a power trip. I mean, through all of this, you want to be the most famous scientist in the world. You were so focused on getting every award and every drop of cash that you could, all because you wanted to be on TV. You wanted to be the sun god of science. You wanted to be the guy who was in charge of it all. You wanted to lambast Trump. You wanted to make sure that nobody else stole your spotlight. You wanted to be the guy. You had time to sit for InStyle magazine. Here's what you were doing with your time. You could sit for InStyle magazine, but you can't answer questions for the American people. You could sit for InStyle magazine, but you're here taking the fifth. You could sit for InStyle magazine and get $1 million in cash awards, but now the cat's got your tongue. I bet he does. I tell you what, here's my conclusion from all of this. This was really all about you the whole time. Somewhere along the way, you lost your way. You may have been a good public servant at one time. I don't know. But I can tell you from reading your emails now, from looking at what you did, how you used your employees, somewhere along the line, it became all about you. You became a narcissist and a megalomaniac and a liar. And you've lied to the American people, and you've lied to this body. And you've disgraced your profession by doing it. You called yourself the most famous scientist in the world. You've done more to harm science than anybody in my lifetime. And I hope you'll go home and write that in your diary.
Of those inside low kicks.
I think that set up pretty good for what you were just talking about.
Well, there's a lot to take from this. Like, first of all, he just published a book a couple of years ago in 2024. I was trying to look up if he published any more. I thought he had published one a little bit older, 22 or 1. But I guess maybe it was the book that came out in 2024, and it's just a memoir of his life. And so any of these people's, you'll see it with senators and stuff too. They'll publish, they'll kind of get famous because their name's out there, and I don't think honestly, this is probably the best source of revenue is to like, in a wholesome sense that I see a lot of these people, whether they're elected or appointed into like federal positions of power or even state positions. That's like one of the most wholesome ways I think to make money. If anybody like agrees with you and they want to purchase your like product that you put out, like a book of some kind, like that's fine. The biggest takeaway with this though for me is this is all just a facade, like in the sense of like this is just a show. Nothing's really going to come of him doing anything, getting arrested. There's not going to be any charges brought to him. He's never going to face like true justice. And so all those people spending time in there and all of us like just doing this, like bantering around, discussing it, it's just a waste of time in my opinion. Like, unfortunately, like I hate to say this, but like I feel like we are so compromised as a nation. Like the real effectual change that we need to see is never going to happen with any of this kind of stuff anymore. Like I am so seeing so much of this it's just part of the whole like right versus left and we're going to get them and blah 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 blah, and then they're just going to charge Trump, with the charges in New York right before he was elected president this current term. That was a facade by the Democrats to like show we're going to get their guy, and now we got Fauci and we're going to get their guy. But did anything happen to Trump? Like, yeah, he got a cool mug shot that he did rock that shot, by the way. Like, he did pretty good with that photo. And then, like, with this Fauci thing, like, all these people putting in time, money, and effort, our money, to just do nothing, to piddle around and have, like, some day in court with Fauci where there's nothing going to happen.
I somewhat disagree with you on one aspect. For me, even though he's not admitting to anything, his non-admission is guilt to me.
Well, absolutely.
And so,
no, I don't. I'm not saying he's not guilty. I'm just saying it doesn't matter. We know he's guilty as sin.
I totally agree.
But I just don't think
I just think that there's got to be some people who were fighting during this time and still argue about the things that happened 6 years ago. That I'm hoping at least it's a wake-up call for some people.
Maybe. I just don't know. I feel like sometimes we're just, so as Americans in general, like we're so embedded into like our us versus them mentality that we don't really see the big picture. Like, wow, we're getting him. Like a lot of conservatives and Fox News is spewing trash about this Fauci, whatever. This isn't even like a real hearing in my opinion, because they're not really trying to. He's already been pardoned. It's like, what are you looking to do with this? Like he's apparently able to like avoid telling anything. Like he's not, and omission is a sign of the guilt there. Like it's a lie by omission, in a way. And I'm not arguing that. I agree with you. My whole point is like this is all just a waste of time. Like it's not going to do anything. Maybe we can win some people over to the scene of, and I would say this is kind of maybe the liberals, because they were the ones that were all for Fauci, for the lockdowns, for the masks, for the rules with COVID. They wanted to have all those restrictions in place, and you have the conservatives, and I came from that camp for sure. And I still consider myself a conservative, but I'm not a Republican. I hold to the values, not to the party. So, because I think the party is just a bust. Like they'll say all the right things, but they clearly don't do it. But again, I just don't see the point of all this in a sense that like maybe we could pull a few out of their camp and show them like what a piece of work he is. But I don't know that it's going to be that effective.
What are your thoughts about Senator Hawley then?
I mean, I like him, but I mean, I first of all, it's in the sense of I like him what he just said. Like I totally am down. Like he's bulldogging him for sure. But I kind of wonder, like secretly, like I want to look at like the donations he gets and where they come from. Does he take APAC money? That's a big red flag for me, and I'm just going to sound like super anti-Semitic right out of the gate. But considering I don't even consider people that live in Israel, they're not, in my opinion, they're Edomites. They're not even like descendant of like real Jews. They're not. There's a lot of research and stuff. We could talk about this like a whole other thing. Rich Tidwell is a guy. I think he's a Christian pastor. He's elaborated a lot. There's a lot of people that have elaborated like on the real histories of like who the real occupants of like Israel today are. And there's a reason in Israel they don't even let those people do DNA tests. Like there's a reason for that. So like call me anti-Semitic if you want, but like I'm going to look at people like Senator Hawley or whoever they are. I'm going to go straight to like not just APAC, but what other foreign interests are like putting into them. And again, it's all part of the facade. Like there's a reason APAC donates heavily to all Congress seats, both liberal and conservative. They don't really care about America. They just care about it being divided and getting their stuff. Like Idaho my state sends $74 million to Israel alone. I mean, and that's pales in comparison to bigger states with like bigger GDPs, like especially California. They're like pushing like $1 billion, I want to say, alone almost, maybe like several hundred million. Texas a lot too. And it's funny because it's like we send all of this over, and then these lobbying groups from wherever just keep their people in power. And then they put these little things together, and they look, it's a we got them. And then, like I said, then the anti-Trumpers will, have Trump arrested in New York on 27 charges. Nothing's happening to Trump. Nothing's going to happen to Fauci. It's like a game. It's just a game to them to say that, like, we got your guy, you got our guy. And really, the losers are the Americans. And this is just another distraction, just like pro sports is. I mean, I hate to say it, but there it is.
Okay, well, I totally agree with you. And I think one of the things I was trying to like share with you is that I was hoping it would open some people's eyes. I'm going to share a clip with you coming up again now, because you're kind of jumping ahead of everything that I'm trying to talk about. No, you're good. You're just that's what makes you excellent on the show. I'm gonna show the next clip real quick so we can just kind of lean where I'm going about people waking up and seeing things for what they are.
Yeah, and just to say before you share, like, if even if you switched one person from all the facade of the Fauci thing or the whatever, I mean, it's worth it. Like, people waking up to like the real plight of America and realizing that really I don't think there's that many representatives in any capacity, federal or state, that actually really, like in the high up sections, even like our local state senators I see doing stuff like for the flock camera stuff, and we could talk about that in another episode. But like there's a big anti-flock camera thing going on in my state right now because we're pretty conservative. Like honestly, I'd argue that we're even more conservative than Texas because unfortunately they've had so many transplants coming to them from California. We have too, but it's just proportionate. Like it's so much more disproportionate now because of the influx down in Texas versus in Idaho. Like I personally think we're still more conservative than even them. Not to like compare, not to like say we're better. I'm not trying to get into that argument, but I don't know, man. It's just waking people up to the plight, like you said. It's worth it, even if just one person wakes up, because they'll start talking and start breaking the think tank. What are those called? Like the cycles, the mental, the echo chambers that people go into politically. Like I hang out with all the like-minded people, so I don't hear the other sides and stuff. And if we can start seeing the humanism in each of individual person and like actually start like politely sharing things that don't make sense that we're seeing, they'll start hopefully catching it.
Let's see what you think about this next video then.
Let's check out the new Antifa tanks and what they got growing. 60 seconds of his liberal insanity. Check this out.
Oh, man. That's wrong. Dude, what's going on here? Is this a handicap thing?
They're capping for sure.
I mean, it looks like half the people belong in the wheelchair and half people are just fat.
Bro, that's what I was going to like. Okay, percentage wise, right?
Yeah.
Like
it's like half and half.
It's about
they're trans disabled. You know what I'm saying? That's a thing.
That's a real thing.
That's a thing that some of these people try to do. They say they're trans disabled so that they can like get the special privileges and the attention of a disabled person. Like imagine how good your life has to be to pretend to be,
to want to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that's the irony of this whole thing. Like, dude, at any other time in history, these people would not have been tolerated.
They wouldn't have survived.
No, they wouldn't have been tolerated at all. And then they're complaining about oppression and fascism and all this, which, dude, we do have degrees of fascism that exist in our country, but it's not the way they describe it.
No.
They don't even understand they don't even know what fascism really is. So like, yeah, I mean, I'm not shocked, bro. This is, at least they're not screaming.
Not yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, in this clip. I don't know what these people think they're going to do. Like, I mean, not just these ones, but like just all of them. Like, what do you think you're going to do? You are a product of the system that you claim to oppose. Like, you're the victim of the propaganda and not just what you believe and how you live. Like, you have been fooled. Okay.
Yeah.
And, these people, they think they're all badass and they get these like spiky haircuts and dye them purple and
The Amazon gas mask.
yeah, bro, down with the system and this and that. It's like, you are the product of the system.
That's right.
Like, completely. Like, look how fat you are. You've been eating all their food. Look how sick you are. You have to take their medication. Look at the fact that you probably don't have a job and you collect government funds for you're claiming to want to tear the system down that allows you to even survive. Like, it's just totally hypocritical and honestly just stupid. And then you talk to some of these people and they're like pseudo intellectuals. You know what I'm saying? Like, they speak pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some good vocabulary, but dude, what they say never makes any sense. And we see this over and over again.
So what do you think? Do you think that rolls into the echo chambers you're talking about?
Well, and he's a product of it too, so he calls them out for hypocrisy on their health choices. But I mean, you look at the bottle of water, that's like hundreds of microplastics in just that single bottle alone that he's going to ingest. And you could look at his clothing too, and you could say, well, all of the products that you are around you, there was like energy drinks too, and even the clothes you wear, the materials, they actually matter. There's a whole gambit of just things that you can do to be healthier, and it's not just what he's criticizing, where he's talking about getting into the gym or at least just, moving around a little bit more and exercising. I mean, that you do kind of see that on both parties for sure. Like, there's some really fit, outdoorsy, super healthy eating liberal people, and I've come to like love them because like as I started my like health journey, first kind of triggered with like a diagnosis that I was later God just healed me of. But I did go on a journey there in the natural to try to like take care of it, and then as my faith built up and I got into the word and just overcame it through just the word, I didn't want to just digress into like the old me with my diet. So, I mean, it's one thing to be where he's at criticizing them, but then at the same time, I could look at stuff on his camera just now. I guarantee if I followed him around for a couple days and just saw the way he ate and stuff, I could pull things out to talk to him about too. But at least he's talking to his defense. He looks like he's at least like working out. He's mobile. He probably has some sort of stuff around the house that he does if he just does his podcast. A lot of conservatives at least do a lot of blue collar type stuff, whether at the house or professionally. Whereas I personally don't feel like I see too much of that with a lot of these like liberal camps type people. Again, there's anomalies to all of this. There's conservatives that have like super sitting at desk, white collar type jobs, which is just about your physical health, like sitting under fluorescence at a desk, stationary for 8 hours a day. Like ask anybody, they'll tell you they know it's wrong, like for their body. But at the same time, I know you got to get the money where you get it. And that's like how you get it. That's how they, maybe they went to school for it or whatever. That's what they planned or that's where they ended up. But it is a little bit hypocritical for me to hear him talking about their health choices and stuff. And yeah, like it is weird and hilarious that in some way that they want to like be trans or like, disabled and like identify as that when maybe they really aren't. But we have a health epidemic in this country, and it crosses both sides of the political spectrum. I don't know that I see one side of the other drinking alcohol more than the other. But the consumerism around alcohol alone is astounding in America.
I didn't see the health thing being talked about at all. I thought he was talking about the system that they fall for, what they're fighting against.
Yeah,
I think he was trying to share like
their health choices and diets. I don't know if you caught that little blip because he talked about them being overweight, and he said, well, maybe some of them need to be in wheelchairs because they are like a little overweight. Like he was joking with that, I thought, but. Mm-hmm. But it was like, I kind of thought it was like a little hypocritical because, again, like you can look at some of his life choices and we could all be better. Like I could be better too. It's just, I don't try to like come out and just say that to people to a degree like the way he did. But I don't know. I did find it funny though, because I agree with it to a degree. It is weird to like
context though. That clip that they had was viral. That was like the most viral clip of the day. And that was like, you already seen that clip? Okay. So
yeah,
I think it's
to see that. Yeah. Same with the Fauci one, too. I had seen that, so even though I'm not really spending a lot of time on social media the last couple weeks, but I still catch things here and there. So Kelsey sends me a few
See,
things.
I think his points were valid. Besides calling them out for their weight, I think everything he was saying about the system they're fighting against.
Agreed.
Like the clip's pretty short. He talks about how half these people that if they're gay, they went over to fight protest for the things they stand for, they'd be killed in the other countries they're doing it in. But I think you're calling it out fairly, though. You're saying that there's conservatives that, like, I don't watch. I try to just see what my feed brings me, and I don't try and lean left or right, but it pushes me far right
Yeah.
as much as like it can. And I don't know how it happens, but it just maybe it's because I look at Christian stuff and they're like, we know what you want, we know who you are.
Well, that's the part of the problem with America is like if you're Christian, they automatically just paint you as like a right wing, and the liberals will go to the part of like labeling you extremist if you just want to have kids and worship Jesus, and you come out and just say you're Christian. They're just going to throw out that you're a conservative, like Republican. And I think part of the thing is just to try to like pull apart from the parties and actually talk about like what, I don't even want to say like the platform of the party, but like what platform, because my personal platform is going to look like a hybrid if I was going to get into it. And we could talk about that like at a much later episode or whenever, but and why I feel like it works. Like, do I want people having handouts? No, but do I think they might need them for a short interim amount of time? Absolutely. Especially when you have like leadership in the country that just runs it into the ground, like the housing market crash. Like, who really benefited from that? The bankers. They gave all this bailout money, and the bankers didn't put it back into the businesses to then start helping the economy. They just took the money and ran and pocketed it as bonuses for all their leaders and leadership. The economy finally just pulled out of stagnation, but that was like 4 years into it. Like, I went to work in 2011 as a teller making $12 an hour with a bachelor's degree in something relevant and useful, spoke multiple languages. And I took me like 8 months from college to go in and get a decent job. Part-time teller, $12 an hour. This is 2011. This is 4 years after the housing market crash really became like full swing. So the bailout money, if that was true, like the bailout would have been like quick, but it wasn't. And that's how we know. Like, if you watch the movie The Big Short, the ending part of like what happens and how it all goes down when it crashes, that's actually pretty accurate. Like, they joke and they say like, yeah, and after that, there was thousands of arrests and America was made right again. And then they pause like, just kidding. Only one guy was arrested. The bankers all lined their pockets, and the economy stagnated for years on end afterwards. And that's really what happened. And like people's savings were like wiped out, cut in half. And then you have all those people that would have retired, they're still in the workforce. And so the power ladders or whatever, the power vacuum at different corporations and places people worked stagnated because the top weren't getting out of the way. And so people expecting a promotion didn't get it. And so they couldn't climb into the higher salary brackets and stuff. And so it just stagnated everybody like 4 or 5 years. It's insane.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to like think of like, because the next topic I was going to try and bring up with you is conspiracy theories, and I think for me, I mean, there was always people left and right, like that we as a country we always had people who disagreed on politics, but it was like it was kind of fringe to me. Most of the people who argued about it, it was like a specific group of people at a party. Like if you had a party of 100 people, there'd be like 5 to 10 people over talking about politics. And then most people would be like, I'm not hanging out with those people. They're talking about politics.
Well, I get it. There's just a nasty realm. And like the problem is like, I don't know that any of us really knows what's happening. Like the biggest conspiracy I think we could introduce here to me is the fact that like we need to be paying attention like what they're really trying to do. Like why are they trying to wipe out the middle class? Because that's literally what we're seeing over and over and over again. With the 9/11, the war in Iraq, all the endless other wars, housing market crash, more wars leading into COVID, now Iran. They're literally trying to wipe out our middle class because we send billions and billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine, to Israel, to God knows where. And, we are just paying for it. So you can look at the average American family and the vacations they were looking to take in the 90s. I mean, I knew friends that would do all kinds of trips and stuff, and I didn't go on that. We weren't up to that level financially. My parents, instead like paid off their house and stuff. So when they came through the housing market crash, they were solid. my dad had a crappy job at a call center for like Wells Fargo, making like nothing, and they were fine, like because all they had to do was have food, and that the company covered their insurance, so like they just had to pay for food. They were kind of becoming empty nesters at that point. My sister was starting college, and it was a good time for us to go to college because it was still kind of cheap around that time. So we were able to go to college and graduate debt free, and just kind of weather it by being in college at the time it was happening. But the middle class is dying out, and because the reason that they want it to is so that now we have to be super dependent to do what they need us to do. Like we're always going to have to work jobs, and then our money goes less and less, and so we're going to be put onto their food systems, these crappy groceries. There was a guy I was watching, he's like 60 something years old. He retired a few years ago. He's been 6 years living in like Southeast Asia, mostly Vietnam. And he's talking about how he lives over there with like, his pension was wiped out by half during the housing market crash. He worked a little longer and ended up just kind of talking to his financials dude and cashed everything out, and then used the difference of what he was going to get when he hit full retirement at 65 as an American, because that would start putting more, bigger checks in the mail, theoretically, or, metaphorically speaking, every month for him. And he retired like 5 years early and lived off his retirement. Just, rationed it for that 5 years until his full retirement and Social Security kicked in. And he's living like, not like a king, but like he travels all over Southeast Asia because it's just cheaper transport, much healthier and cheaper food. And he's talking about like he's like a type 1 diabetic, doesn't even take insulin or meds. He's like, yeah, I don't like eat ice cream, even though it's probably like more healthy here than in America. But like other than that, like I don't even need to be on meds. I don't even go to the doctor for my diabetes. I don't have any issues. I don't have any like dizzy spells or any of the symptoms, because I'm not eating the crap that we have in our country, in America. And the whole point of me bringing all that up was they're trying to keep us dependent on every system that they've got in place. They want us like watching the media. They want us just living these like hamster wheel lives until we die, and then siphoning every dollar they can, whether it's through taxes, medications. There's a whole list, and that's my biggest conspiracy theory that I would bring to the table.
Yeah, let's look at this little video real quick and see what you think about these.
I saw this was kind of interesting, the conspiracy chart. So it's like, what out of all of these conspiracies, which ones are real, right? Things that actually happened, MK Ultra, right?
Yeah.
FBI.
Yeah. Here. Look, this is the point I'm making here.
Yeah.
Okay. You got right here on this fucking chart things that actually happened: MK Ultra, Operation Paperclip, the Tuskegee experiment, Project Mockingbird, FBI spying on MLK, Watergate. All right, cool. Now go to the top. Okay. George Floyd crisis actor, Pizzagate, Nazis on the moon, cultural Marxism. These are all products of the things that they say are fucking real.
That's right.
That's the point. Okay. Do you think they're going to come out and say, oh yeah, by the way, we're using these things that you know are real to create these things that we're going to like?
That's right.
Yeah. Like, bro, that chart is just total propaganda by looking at it. You know,
like ivermectin cures COVID. That's dangerous to yourself and others.
Yeah, clearly. Because ivermectin has no fucking side effects basically, and it's cheap, and it actually cures a lot of shit. So it's, there's a lot of danger there. The unequivocally false but mostly harmless, Tupac is in Serbia, Ted Cruz is the Zodiac killer, Elvis lives, right?
Stevie Wonder isn't blind.
Yeah. We have living in reality. We live in a simulation. So that's more real than the COVID vaccine having microchips or nano chips.
Right.
Okay. So you're telling me
presidential election being stolen.
Where's that?
Right here. Reality denial.
Yeah. But see, and 2 years ago, that would have been in the top. And that's how, what?
Jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams.
Jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams.
To say that's dangerous to yourself, Andy. You're being dangerous.
Unequivocally detached from reality, right? Like anti-Semitic point of no return.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Oh my God. So all of these things, if you believe them, are anti-Semitic.
Yep.
Like if you believe
Hollywood's turning your kids gay,
that's
why would that be anti-Semitic?
Exactly.
Why?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't heard that one. I don't know what that one is. Bill Gates to population. Yeah.
Flat Earth is anti-Semitic. Deep State is anti-Semitic. Why is Deep State anti-Semitic?
Why is that anti-Semitic? That's a great question.
Why don't you explain that one to us?
The Great Replacement. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the Great Replacement that we can all fucking see with our own motherfucking eyes happening.
George Soros.
Yeah, you can't even say George. You can't say his name. That's anti-Semitic.
Is he on there?
Yeah, right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Oh God.
Yep. Yep.
So basically, that's all the shit's actually happening.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Good job, Abby Richards.
Yeah. Fucking retard.
Yeah, bro.
Bro, we get that person on the fucking show. Explain this chart to us.
Walk us through this one.
Yeah.
Walk us through this one. Yeah,
How is George Soros anti-Semitic?
Can't even say it. Can't say it.
It sounds to me like that as long as you have a percentage of Jewish in your blood, you can say anything's anti-Semitic and excuse whatever you're doing.
That's right. That's right. So, you know, with that being said.
And what does that create?
Shabbat Shalom.
Hold on. What does that create? That creates
more hate.
That's right.
Yeah. But I am going to now recognize and identify
as Jewish,
as a black Jewish man.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know, all Jews are black. Ask Kanye.
Shabbat Shalom. How you have it? Shabbat Shalom.
Yeah. Dude, shit's so fucking weird, man.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, and the more you call anti-Semitic that clearly isn't anti-Semitic, the more anti-Semitism you actually create.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Guys.
Which makes you think that they must want to create that.
They want more.
Yeah, they do, bro, because they want people to actually hate Jewish people.
But why?
So they can bust in all these humanitarian regulations, right? Like surveillance.
You can't even say the N-word right now.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
that's right.
Moving towards
that's
it,
right.
I feel like it's the same thing as telling a kid, hey, don't touch that outlet. And if you keep telling that all the time, the kid's going to eventually go touch it.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
They're saying like, this is the act to stop Jewish hate when nobody's asking for it.
Yeah.
And you're putting them into their minds.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. They want to create a hate towards a group that, like, if every Jew, and let's just throw the word out like it is, if every Jew is like a problem, we'd have a lot more problems, I think, right now than that. I think it's, the problem too is, like, first of all, like, they're not all bad people by any means. Like, one of my best friends is Jewish from high school. Like, I don't know which, I think he's Ashkenazi, you know, but he was a cool dude. And, like, you know, I even defended him against kids that would pick on him because he wasn't the most, like, he was actually pretty athletic, but he kind of had like a duck walk when he ran, like his toes pointed a little together. And one time, like, I defended him because we were all racing, like just a foot race. And he tripped on himself, but it was also like kind of a hilly, like grassy area, and the grass was a little long. So, you know, so he tripped, but anyway, so I was like, no, let's do it again. And like, cause I was like, dude, just run the race, bro. And then he beat him. And they were like, dude, this Jew kid just beat us. And I was like, yeah, like, who gives a shit if he's Jewish? Like, he's a good dude. Like, the problem is there's just some people in power, and it is kind of a disproportionate thing when you look at it, that, like, in our country, like, they don't seem to, like, go into the military, but they definitely want to hold, like, positions of power at the federal government and in some of the court systems and things. But that's not, like, a Jewish problem. I don't think the Jews are the problem. I think they're trying to make them the problem, like they're talking about in that video, so that we can just have like another infight type of thing. And then they can push the defense of these people, you know, and in the guise of safety, they can, like with the flock camera thing or whatever else they're going to do, they're going to mass surveil all of us and then push more laws. Like, you already can't burn like the Israeli flag in America, but I could burn the American flag in America. I mean, they already have like that unfair treatment thing going on right now. It's wild. So I don't know. I don't think Jews are the
Where do
problem.
you get all your where do you get all your news from? Because like Andrew Frisella, that's the guy right there. Like I don't watch the news, but Andrew Frisella, that's the guy. It's real AF, so it's his name, and it sounds like the other thing.
No,
He's someone I really enjoy. Like just it's not
Yeah,
like
I
I
like
look
him.
to him for news. It makes me feel like I'm hanging out with one of the guys I know.
Sure. Well, I don't watch podcasts, but I'll catch clips. My whole thing is like, I'll just kind of take when I'm ready to kind of like sit at the buffet of like world information. I don't even call it news because it's like I'm having to like look through and like
Decipher.
does this any of this matter? And then I don't like run to the hills with anything I see. I just take like kind of what's trending. So I look at a few things. Does it seem like any of this is relevant to the way I live my life or to anything going on that I need to involve myself with mentally? And then I just deep dive it myself. So I look at like all the angles I can find. I'll watch and see like who's vehemently like in favor of this whatever I found. And then I'll go to the other side and I'll like who's in vehemently opposed to whatever this is looking like. I just see that kind of the spectrum of perspectives and then just kind of like weigh in. And then I just weigh stuff against the Word of God. Personally, I believe freedom, like God, the Spirit of God is freedom. And when you have freedom, like you're not going to want to impose hurtful things to other people because you're going to just be Satan himself on earth to other people if you are trying to impose restrictions on other people to a degree. Now, like, unfortunately, some people don't have the light of Christ or the Spirit of God in them, and they're not even good people, let alone Christian, like true born-again, Spirit-filled Christians, because there's a lot of fakies out there. They're Christian in name only, just like rhinos with the Republican Republican Party. There's a lot of Christians that are Christian in name only, and they gossip like crazy. Tons of Christians gossip that I know. Tons of them have like other things that they do that aren't biblical. And I'm not perfect, but I don't come out and like just brag and have scriptures in my bios on my social media and talk like I'm some holier than thou Christian type person by any means, just to kind of like then have my faults behind closed doors or open for the public to see. And I'm not trying to hide anything, but I don't come across as like, I don't know, like I'm on my journey, you're on yours. And like if you want to talk about like what you think you're doing wrong, like I'm happy to try to help you. I'm not going to criticize you. I'm not going to come out of it like a judgmental attitude. And if you need to feel like you have a rapport with me and you're the iron that's going to sharpen my iron and like you're my brother and we're going to like talk about my faults, that's fine. I'm cool with that. But what they're getting to like with their comments here, like I worry about our country, to be honest, because I just feel like we're going down like a slippery slope, and a lot of the stuff that we're getting inundated in is just to just upset us and upset the like spirit in us. And then to restrict freedom too. Like if we could push fear's been the thing that's always pushed us. Like fear pushed us into the world wars, and tens of millions of Christians died. But I think the biggest thing with the world wars is the old ways died. Kelsey and I were talking today about she's buying a yarn spinner, like a big spinning wheel, so she could take, and then she's getting I forget the term for this other thing, but it's basically she could take raw wool and like dirty, just like literally shaved right off the sheep and thrown in a bag and mailed to us. She'll be able to take that, wash it, put it out, and like basically spin it all the way into like yarn. And like this is all this old stuff that like literally every family at least knew the process. And then like one in like 4 or 5 families in America would have like the equipment to do. And then it might be like, hey, Steven, does your wife want to come spin your guys' wool over here? How about you just have her bring a jug of milk in exchange for letting her use our equipment to do so? Or maybe the community pitched in like the equipment, money to get the equipment to do these things or that thing. Like we used to do communal living like they do in the islands today still. They'll put together money for like a tractor, and it's just kind of parked centrally in the village to be able to get to anybody's farm. They do this in Tonga still all the time. They'll get like an old crappy tractor, like a used one. The community they're poor. They'll pitch in money, and then they just use it like a community tractor. And we've just gone away from like all these old ways, and the world wars killed that. Like people don't even know how to like have like little like herb gardens. You know what I'm saying? Like just an herb garden. You know, I got a potato farm going. I got like 30 some odd potato plants. I got 2 cherry trees in there. I got plans to like quadruple the size of my garden in the fall, so I'm ready I'm going to put down stakes and fencing for springtime. Here when the fall hits and the water starts to come down, so the ground is moist, so it's easier to drive the stakes in. But like I'm far from being like food independent, but like we just keep thinking about how us as a family can revert back to some of these old ways that they've killed off. Because I think they got us right where they want us. They want us working till we're 65, taking our arbitrary week vacation every year. I mean, don't get me wrong, like peasants faced a lot of crap back in the day, you know, like 200 years ago before like the Industrial Revolution. But on average, they only worked like 150 days a year. Yeah, like you had terrible medicine in some ways. You know, like as far as like technology and stuff goes for medicine, like it just wasn't there. But at the end of the day, and you worked long hours when you did work those 150 days a year. But the average American, you know, we work 220, and, you know, and you get like what, a week, 2 weeks vacation. And I've seen so many people like get their vacation denied, and they're like, you know, like why? Like it's the 1 week a year I want off. Like just give it to me. Like it's really sad. It's really sad, the plight of most Americans today. I mean, I talk to so many of them around the community and stuff, and like they're just, and then the alcohol stuff. Like honestly, I think a lot of alcoholics are just because it's just an escape. Like I can't afford to take my kids to do something this weekend, maybe. So you know what? I'll just day drink like Saturday and Sunday, and the kids and I'll set up an inflatable pool in the yard, or we'll go to the river and call it a weekend. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's sad.
Have you now? Like I don't know. Like so, like for anyone who's watching, like Trev and I are related, and
unfortunately,
I spent like the first 4. What's that?
I said, unfortunately for you.
No,
we're related.
No, but I mean, I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps, which gives me like basically a master's degree in drinking, and
Yeah.
And I as far, I mean, if you've watched the show with Trevor before, you know he grew up in the LDS church, and so I know you didn't even drink until what age was your first drink?
30, 31. Yeah.
Okay. And
Maybe
I'm guessing
31,
when you
32
drink, it's
even.
not. When you drink, is it like a drink? Is it 2 drinks?
The most I've ever had was like 5 or 6, maybe 7 or 8, and that was like several years ago, and I was just kind of like testing out like how far could I take it. But like I've only ever been like drunk like twice, maybe hungover like a couple more times than that, where I just didn't eat and hydrate. But like I don't even like, I'm sober now. Like I haven't, and I won't for a long time. I'm just trying to clean up my diet and get kind of ready for like winter, and then I'll enjoy a few during like cold months. I've kind of enjoyed it here recently, so I just quit. But I don't ever really get beyond more than like a rolling. Basically when I drink, I can always drive, if that makes any sense. Because I'll start early. I'll start like right after lunch, and I'll start just go, and like I'll do like 3 or 4 over like a 6-hour period, and by dinner time I eat dinner, and I'm pretty much sober right after dinner, because I don't want to have it like disrupt my sleep. And honestly, I just want to be able to like just relax occasionally, but I don't need it. I don't need it to relax. I think unfortunately, like
I don't know what the percentage of young. No, I know that the sales for alcohol are completely down, and I assume it has a lot to do with the younger generations not consuming alcohol. And there's been enough stuff coming out that, I mean, alcohol is on the decline, but I know marijuana is astronomically at an all-time, like, it's basically replaced the sales. And I was telling Josh earlier, I don't know, it was a few months ago, about how I had my medical license for marijuana, and one of the reasons why I got it was to help me sleep. And one of the reasons I also wanted to do it is because I was drinking too much alcohol, so I'd come home and drink to help myself calm down enough from working so hard that I would literally need the alcohol to numb me, to put me to go to bed. But it was like a nightly cycle, and it got pretty nasty in a way that, like, I never really considered that I needed to go like to meetings, even though by clinically or by definition, I was an alcoholic. 100%. If you talk to anyone who goes to an alcoholics in a meeting, they're gonna be like, "You have a real problem." You're like, "Well, I have a work problem that my drinking helps."
Yeah, that's the
But
plight.
as I got
Go ahead.
Yeah, as I got introduced to alcohol or to marijuana, even getting my license, the doctor, when I told her everything that's going on with me, when she prescribed it to me, because it wasn't legal in Arizona yet, I had to get a medical license. And I was describing all the things physically going on with me in my sleep, and she's like, "Well, you're gonna want to start off slow," and she's like, "And then work your way up to a higher dose if you need it." And then she was saying like up to 100 milligrams of whatever, and like that's a lot of weed. Like when you get into like knowing what that means, like edible wise, like 100 milligrams is a huge. They'll sell it in a candy bar, but that will put most people on their butts. That's like a whole. That could be 2 or 3 months worth for some people. And she was recommending even like if you need it, go up to that amount. And so as I was consuming this, like my research as I got further along with this, and I started praying to God about drinking and all of it, like I had God remove it all from my life. Not to say I've never touched any of it ever again, but for the most part, for like the last year, I hardly touch anything at all. But I have found, and my argument would be, I think weed's actually the worst, one of the worst drugs there possibly can be, because alcohol is not great either. Like they're just both bad. Weed has a lot of psychoactive stuff in it, and what they're finding is this: the THC content is so high in this stuff, it's actually affecting people who have kind of mental problems already. It's amplifying it, and the more you take it, it grows. And I think there's part of something that going on with our society right now. We're talking about these conspiracy theories and the way people are thinking. Because like I'd go to these shops, and it's not like everyone's a 21-year-old in line. There's 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds. It's everybody's taking this stuff now, and it's supposed to be legal, and it's natural. It's what we're all saying, but I mean, it feeds into your part of your brain where it's going to help you grow with these conspiracy theories, where it's going to adopt things and make you less motivated to follow through with things you're kind of susceptible to, like having your brain jump to conclusions. It's like a psychosis.
Yeah, that makes sense. I argue too. Oh, go ahead.
No, what were we gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, marijuana today is also not the same as it's been like generationally in the past. Like stuff my dad would have smoked in the 70s as like a early 20-year-old or in high school aged kid. He would have graduated high school in like 73. And he talks about like having a friend, and his friend was like his best friend at school, and they had a code word for smoking dope was paint the shed. They had the code word for marijuana was green paint. So, because you had the landline, right? And, mom was always listening around the corner. Sometimes you didn't even have that long cord to, like, use the long cord, sneak around the corner and talk in private. So they had to develop this code word. So, like, my grandma joked later, like, she obviously later, like, found out as he became an adult and, like, a father himself to me and my sister. We would have these talks, and grandma would be like, yeah, I never knew what your dad meant by that green paint till much, much later, but he'd be on the phone with that Gary friend of his, like, hey, Gary, you want to go paint the shed? You got any green paint? And they'd go out and smoke in the shed is what they were doing. I don't know how crazy they got. Like, I don't think they were on, like, the Snoop Dogg, Willie Nelson type levels by any means. But the stuff they were doing back then, like, you could, obviously the technology to breed and even, like, genetically modify them was there. But, like, I imagine, like, the jumps that they would have seen with that kind of stuff from the 70s and 80s to today even. Like some of this THC levels and the other like additives or the way that they've just bred these plants, they are way different than the marijuana of like 50 years ago. Very dangerous. Yeah, I've never done it before. I don't really have plans to. I have a friend that does it, but he does it like marginally. In the way that I would think like makes sense if you're going to. Like as far as like frequency and amount like per dosage, when he's talked to me about it, like it kind of makes sense. I've used CBD, however. I had a bulging disc in my neck, and I have some like pharma grade like pretty potent stuff, and I just follow the instructions with it and have done it occasionally I can really feel it, like in ways I hate to say, like I do have seen personally the benefits of using this in the right ways. Again, it didn't have the THC.
Well,
But
CBD is not bad at all.
well, with the CBD though, like even then, like you can induce. Like I did a strong dose one time, and I also just didn't like. And it was the dose I was used to, but I forgot. Like I had like a light dinner, like a fish and a rice, and it wasn't much food. Like, and I'm a bigger guy. Like I'm a buck 80, 85 for for a 5'8" tall dude. Like I'm kind of stout a little bit. So, that's a thing I believe that matters. Like when you drink, it matters kind of like your tolerances and stuff to it. And so I kind of induced a bit of like, not like I was tripping or anything, but I felt like a little bit of like effects, not maybe THC by any means, because it supposedly didn't have it in there, but I felt more than just like muscular relaxation. Like I did feel like a little artistic and creative. And maybe it was partly too because I took it at night, and I'm a night owl, and that's when like I do my writing. Like I'm currently writing a novel because I can't sleep here. It's so hot without the AC, so I'm just like writing a novel for fun at night. And so I'm really creative at night, and that's just kind of the habit I've built in the last several years when I quit working at the school. But I mean, there are medicinal effects that I personally couldn't argue with. I've had friends that use it, and they use the THC stuff, but I do agree with you. I do think people talk about it not being addictive, like alcohol is addictive, but I do think it is addictive in the sense, marijuana speaking, because it's not like the substance like a nicotine that's like there's something chemically in there. It's the chasing it, like you were saying, like with the alcohol, I need help to decompress from work. Well, marijuana will do that too in ways, and it kills, like alcohol, it kills the motivation. I also believe like the reasons they're starting to push these is because it's another thing, like pornography is like also like a dopamine inducing drug, if you will. Like it's a visual drug. You don't partake like this way, you watch it. And it kills your drive, especially when paired with like masturbation. It kills your drive. Like I remember, like, we've all dabbled with that. Like I don't know if you ever noticed, like when you quit, like your drive and motivation surges. And so these are all like ploys, and like TV is a ploy to kind of lull you into passivity. They don't want us rising up. They don't want us spending time thinking about the pertinent things of like how we can actually change our country for the better. So they give us sports and TV and movies.
Well, I mean,
they give us substances to partake in.
Circling back to Fauci, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you circle back to Fauci, like, I mean, the thing I tried to talk about is COVID was the biggest thing I was trying to bring up in that whole moment was just the whole COVID vaccine, everything that happened. But like talking about alcohol and marijuana, those were two things that were open during COVID that were like, I didn't understand. They shut down churches.
Yeah.
But they kept open dispensaries and liquor stores. Like, I could not understand how these things were relevant and necessary. I think if you want to talk about setting people back, that whole 2 years we went through that stuff, I mean, I was talking about it then, and I felt like people were kind of like acting like nothing happened, and I'm like, dude, this is going to mess a lot of people up. I still think people are, and they're not talking about it. I mean,
for sure.
The politics, I think it all stems from that. I mean,
well, look at who got it enforced on them. Like small mom and pop restaurants were like smashed, but McDonald's got to stay open. Why? Like why? Like there was like a plethora of examples, like especially like in those really liberal states, California. I can say specifically, like there was a burger joint and they got like just absolutely smashed by the COVID restrictions, but like McDonald's gets to stay open, and they had a drive-through too at her place, like a walk-through. Like they were like trying to like do a pull in and park and call us and order, and we'll walk it out to your car. And we got all the stuff on in the we sanitized, we got masks, and our food's extra clean, and they were able to get procure their shipments for the food, for the ingredients. And they were making their burgers, and then they still got smashed shut by COVID restrictions. And it's like, and then there was like a whole nother company that was another like mom and pop burger joint, a different one. And they were like trying to do outdoor eating because a lot of their neighbors, like McDonald's and stuff, was like letting people eat if it was outdoors. So they opened up their outdoor spaces. or like Starbucks, right? So they thought we could do the same thing. Well, no, they couldn't. And they got shut down and smashed. And literally they show a Starbucks across like the walkway, like in this like kind of like business park. And they have people sitting outside and eating. And she's like talking to the people from like the health center that's coming in like to pull her, what is it called? Her like certificates to remove them because she's like violating their rules. It's like, this is asinine. Like, they're serving food and drinks right there. Why are they not being treated like this? So it's funny going back to that first video too, of those guys talking about how liberals don't even know fascism. I dare to say I think liberals are more quick to go in the form and follow behind true fascism. Like when you talk about freedom of speech, it's usually them versus the freedom of speech. You talk about freedom to like move around and do things that you want to do. Look at the states that are losing business versus gaining businesses. Like California is bleeding dry. The only reason they can still have like a high GDP is because they just have like a great location as far as a lot of like, you know, they have oceanfront for like international shipping. They have a ton of great, good weather and rich soil for their farmlands. And they produce great materials and products there with those farmlands. You know, foods and wines and things. And the shipping international and all the warehouses and, you know, things like Elon Musk moved to his stuff to Texas, I thought. Because he was like tired of all the arbitrary stuff he was seeing. And then the state taxes are really high. It's insane. But like I see liberals being like more fascist than I see conservatives. The only way that they look at us conservatives is when you look at like ICE, possibly. Like, oh, they're rounding them up, you know, that's a fascist move. Like, yeah, but you people were rounding up people that weren't wearing masks either, so frick off, you know.
Well, the last time we were on together was June 5th. That was the last episode we did. And a lot of the talks we were having that time is you were telling me how you felt about what was happening with Trump's administration and what's going on with everything, and you were sharing your displeasure with everything. And I shared with you right after that I was like, dude, I'm seeing a lot of other people talk about it, and I just wasn't caring anymore. But I remember when Biden was in office, I was nervous about the path our country was going on, and I want to share this clip with you because I kind of it's going to share how I feel about politics going forward. And when we get back, I want to hear what you think about it.
The last couple of weeks, I've just realized that the battle maybe isn't over the country, not even over the world. It's over our souls and over our mind.
That's right.
And I don't think it matters who walks into that office. It is going to be somebody under heavy diabolical influence,
That's right.
maybe even straight Satanism.
Right.
And I think what we're seeing today is human sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it matters what side gets in there. They're either going to send our youth to war to die for another country, or they're going to psychologically mutilate their brains and convince them to mutilate their bodies and dismember themselves. And I think that it all goes down to human sacrifice.
Yeah.
Do you believe that?
I do. I think for some time, this was about 10 years ago, I made an observation in a public conference that this is no longer a battle of ideas. It's no longer a battle of, you know, that people have differences of opinions. This is a battle of good and evil at this point. And so many of the patterns which we see in the psychological behavior of people who are diabolically influenced, you see those same patterns in the people that are running the government and, you know, in positions of power. And so for the longest time, I've known that this is ultimately a battle over good and evil at this point. So regardless of what, as you mentioned, regardless of whichever political party or whoever gets in there, you know, you can shuffle the chairs on the deck of the Titanic, but it's still going to go down if people don't address this in a spiritual manner.
I'll tell you one thing I've learned over the past several weeks is I will never put my hope or faith in another man.
Yeah.
Ever again.
Yeah, it says it right in scripture, right? It's better to trust in God than in princes. because they'll end up selling you out every time. I actually saw this even with when the Jews said we wanted a king. They told God they wanted a king, which is ironic because the Jews were the only ones who ever had a theocracy, an authentic theocracy in the entire history of the world, and they still said they wanted a king. So then he says, well, this is what he's going to do. If I give you the king, this is what he's going to do to you. And he's going to send your children off to war. He's going to take your best lands. He's going to do this, that, and the other thing. And they said, we still want a king. So
We never learn.
we don't learn.
Yeah, we've gone back and forth in our house because my wife still thinks, if we vote the party, it's like at least the lesser of two evils. At least the conservatives say these things, even though they don't follow through with much of it. I tell her, like, I'm done voting. Like, you can vote. I'll vote for, I'll still go to the ballot, but I'm not voting for, like, the main stuff. I'll do our local little stuff. But then when it comes to, like, midterms and stuff, like, I don't vote because everyone's taking APAC money. Everyone's just a part of this, like, baby eating cult. Or they're at least, like, paid to be a part of, like, whatever that cult wants them to do. So, yeah, like, a lot of congressional delegates maybe haven't gone directly to, like, Epstein Island, whatever. But are they in power and are they letting this evil happen? Like, I'm sorry, you're just as guilty. Like, it's like you're in the position to actually, like, do something, and instead you're just taking advantage. I mean, the fact that, like, I think it was like some 30-odd congressional delegates last year performed better with their stocks than Warren Buffett says everything you need to know about our political system. And it was from both camps. In fact, the best one was a conservative. He even beat, like, this was a few years back, actually. Nancy Pelosi's, like, nefarious for, like, doing really well with her stock trades. And so was her husband, somehow. And this one conservative guy even beat her in his, like, stock market portfolio earnings. And all of them were, like, not just marginally better than Warren freaking Buffett. Now, this dude is, like, the dude, right? Like, he knows that's his whole thing. So if you're outperforming him, like, but you're supposedly busy, like, in another job as a congressional delegate, like, dude, you're in power, you're just as guilty, and you're a part of the system, whether you say you are or not. And again, look at where they're getting their money from and their donations from. That's all you have to do to know it's just a game. It's just a game. And so, like, you just quit playing it. Our whole goal in our family is to pay as little in tax right now. And then, we speak over the tax money that we do give because we do believe we're supposed to legally, like Jesus says, like, render unto Caesar what is his. But at the same time, like, there's a tax code system that is like 6,000 pages long, and you can beat it. And we're beating it pretty well. Like, we've got it down to, like, I don't know, very, very little tax that we pay for the amount we make. And that's winning to me because we still pay other stuff that we shouldn't have to pay, like property tax. And in our state, they adjust your tax every year based on the changed of value of your home, which is basically taxing us on unrealized gains every year. It's just stupid. But it's not as bad as other states. Like, California taxes you on your stocks that you own, whether you've sold them or not. Like, they just look at the valuation of your stocks and then they tax you on it. So a lot of these guys are parking their stocks as if they were purchasing them from other states to avoid it, which is smart. But yeah, we just got a bunch of satanic child eating and molesting people in power, or those guilty that are just going along with it. So the swamp is still very much in effect. In fact, it's bigger and deeper than ever. And don't feel hopeless, dear Christian brothers and sisters. Know who you are in Christ. Know the power you have, according to, like, Ephesians 1 or Romans 8:11, I believe. The power that brought Christ back from the dead is in you. It's you have that literal power inside you. So get active and get busy in, like, your local communities, whether it's politically or just spiritually or just helping your neighbor. Don't look at the world. The world's got to get bad. Like, that's the whole point of this. The world's got to get bad. So, like, Stephen and I on here aren't trying to, like, B-word and complain about this stuff. We're just trying to, like, bring you information, show you, like, it's pretty hopeless, but, like, nothing's really ever truly hopeless. First, Christ is in you. And then second, he's coming back. So, like, what you do matters. Even if you get, like, literally killed and crucified for speaking out and starting your own podcast, or even just sharing your beliefs with your friends. And it's going to get really bad. It will start looking like a fascist society at some point. They are going to start getting really, really, really nasty. And I think these flock cameras are going to be a stepping stone to that. They already listen to us on our phones. I mean, you already have like the absolute like best listening device the NSA and CIA could ever need to like track every single thing that you've seen, watched, said, even thought, probably. But don't despair. Like, know who your real enemy is, know his ploys here, and know how to play this game to a degree to just keep yourself as safe and out of harm's way as possible, and try to help other people wake up to this and to know Jesus.
Yeah, I have another video to show you. It's kind of like ironic because like sometimes this happens where we start talking, and the next video I have is who benefits from all this, and it's another one from Andy Frisella, and I'm gonna play it, but it's just kind of like he starts going into things that I think we kind of covered almost everything he says in the next video. I just kind of want to knock it out with you and see what he says, and like see if there's anything he hits on that like you can touch on that you think that he did a good job on that we're missing.
Getting back to the point of what we were saying is that you always have to ask who benefits. Okay, who benefits and why? All right, so when we talk about bots on the internet, does it benefit the platforms to have bots or not?
Yes.
It does. Does it benefit the government to allow those bots to continue?
Yes.
Okay. Does it benefit the government to allow AI to exist in our world in terms of making videos that appear real, that are not real? Does it benefit them?
Yes.
Okay. So like, but people are getting smart and they're figuring it out. And like, dude, the best thing that could happen here is that people fucking leave and they join other tech platforms that are bot free and actually have communities with real people if they want that in their life. Yeah. Right. I don't think that people are totally disenfranchised with the idea of social media. I think they're totally disenfranchised with the idea of social media being complete bullshit.
Yes.
And that every time they open their phone, they spend 2 hours watching clickbait bullshit that sucks the life out of them. I think people are tired of that.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day when you used social media, you didn't sit on there for 9 hours. You got on, you made a little post, you fucking looked at other people, you got the and you lived your life. And because of greed and because of the want of bigger and more money and all these things, they operated under an idea of, okay, well, how can we get people to live their lives on social media? Remember the meta world? Remember the digital world with the glasses? Yeah, the metaverse. How'd that fucking go over?
Right.
Oh, yeah, it went over just like I said it would, because people want real connection. They want to talk to people in real life. And we're seeing this, bro. We're seeing people get rid of their cell phones and put a landline phone in their fucking house again.
Yes. It's trending.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, dude, the cell phone enslaves you, bro. Like think, okay, let's just take the idea of a regular employee or an entrepreneur in 2026 versus in 1999. In 1999, the year I started our companies, when I locked that motherfucking door,
You're done.
the business was over for the day. Okay. Now I went and worked other jobs so I could build that business. But if you were an employee and you locked the door, the rest of the afternoon, the rest of the day was at your discretion. That's not the case anymore. And I don't care what company you work for. And I don't care what you talk about boundaries and all this. It is expected of employees to be on call all the time. And that's not just, that's everywhere. That's every company. You're expected to text back. You're expected to email back. What does that do to the quality of life for everybody?
It's just another way that they get us to be tired. The real estate industry is probably one of the worst with this. Kelsey has recently made this push where she texts, has an auto text reply as soon as 5 o'clock hits on weekdays and all weekend, her phone is like nefariously on D&D all weekend too. Like when I try to call her, the way to get around is I have to call her twice. The first one goes, sorry, this person is not accepting calls, and you hit it again, and then it'll go through. So I can like still reach her. Or we'll use like WhatsApp, and I'll call her through that or text her through that because she'll have those notifications pushed because no one messages her on there. So like that's our like code to like communicate on the weekend, because realtors just have this like inherent ability to like completely and flagrantly disregard personal boundaries. They're all in a way like maybe narcissists. Not, I don't really mean that. I'm just being funny. But it's been brutal for her because she's like basically like an assistant in a way. Like all her stuff is like, it's hard too because a lot of the stuff she's had to learn to grow, and women especially are like really bad at this because women will cater to the needs of others before they'll like take care of themselves. You've probably seen this with your wife as well. Like they'll burn themselves out like at the cost or the betterment of others at the cost of themselves. I've seen that with my mom. I see it with my mother-in-law. I see it with my wife. The thing I pride my daughter on the most is the fact that she's like very comfortable telling her brothers no when she doesn't want to do something for them. She's kind of a brat about it, but I'm like, hell yeah, like, frick you go get your own stuff out of the fridge. Like, go get it yourself. You know, because she'll be like, no. You know, she'll make them, if they ask her to help her, like, you know, reasonably. Like, she's not unreasonable. But, like, lots of these industries, like, when I taught school, dude, like, I'd get 100 emails a day on top of, like, teaching 6 out of 7 periods and then grading 6 periods worth of work and then preparing 6 periods worth of lessons for the next day. And then I had 100 emails to answer. And, like, a lot of it was just, like, simple stuff, but it's like, man, it's an inundating. And this is like another thing that they just want us tired and mentally like incapable.
That's why I was saying like who benefits. That's like when I told you like we should just roll that videos because some of the things you were saying is like it's the people who are the top 10% running everything, and I don't know why they would want everyone else in. I don't know. It's for me it's rolling into the Sean Ryan thing and everything we've been saying so far. It's all rolling down to a spiritual battle. And
well, yeah, because they need
for
the
your
control.
soul.
They need the Christians because we have the power. Christians are the only people that will actually like take up arms and like get done when it's time to get shit done. Because like Jesus says, like sell your coat or cloak and buy a sword. Like when it's time to do some heavy shit, like we'll do that. But you know we do turn the other cheek for a while, and we do help other people and we love other people, but you know sometimes loving people is like not letting them hurt other people around them and taking them out. Like I'm not calling for violence and war, but those aren't outside of the realm of the average Christian, and they shouldn't be, but they are now because we're so tired and we're blinded. We don't have the time to dedicate like to find out who's our real enemy, like in honor, like it's the devil, like sure, but like what can we do to stop him? You know, because interceding, intercession, and prayer only is going to do so much. You know, there's a part to where the boots on the ground need to start making something happen, not just whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. It's just one of those things, dude. It's like they want us bored and like drinking and like, I don't know, like all these things that we're too inundated and distracted with little insignificant things like our whole life that we don't move in and take territory back from the devil. We just trust our party's platform and the person in charge of our state legislature or our, you know, our congressional delegates or our president, that we don't really like care to like vet like the job they're doing because we don't have the time. And then by the time we do, it's all like nasty, it's dark, it's dank, and it hurts our spirit. And so we don't get involved and we don't get engaged. And so we're guilty by passively letting it continue to a degree. But I get it. I'm not judging that. I mean, I've been there. And at this point, like, I'm just telling people, like, just live your life. Be freaking happy. Like, first of all, just be happy and start trying to see God's blessing in your life. Like, first of all, like, if you just do that, you're going to put that out there to God. Like, just be grateful for what you have. And even if you have, like, nothing, be grateful that you can still draw breath in your lungs. And even if your body's, like, in pain, be grateful that you're at least still alive. Try to just shift it all to, like, gratitude. And then, like, good things will start coming your way. Like, for me, like, I have time. I am a political person. Like, you know, I'm a mayor. I'm unpaid. I'm the mayor of this city. And, like, it sucks, dude. It's a thankless job. I don't get paid anything. I lose money and time. Like, every time I go into that office, I lose, because my time is money. You know, I could be spending it with one of my 3 kids and my baby on the way. But I'm trying to help my community, and it's slow. Like, it sucks how slow. We have an air conditioner in our jiu-jitsu practice room, which is one of the city buildings that my friend is renting out to hold his jiu-jitsu classes for our kids. I just started at the adult class like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and it's hot, and the AC went out. It's been out all summer. Like, we're finally getting people to show up after like a month of making calls to get stuff happening. It's like, it's astounding. Like, these blue collar workers are just busy, and like, I get it, but also they just, you know, it's just the city. They don't really maybe care as much as like a family. I don't know what the problem is. Maybe everyone's AC's out and they're all just busy. I don't know. But it's we have to make decisions too. Like, I can't just pull the trigger and say, like, yeah, just go ahead and fix it for like $5,000. Like, there's a numerical threshold that I have to get approvals from the council to like make happen. Like, I can authorize up to a certain dollar amount without their approval. But I mean, some of these figures I'm getting are way outside of my scope. I have to put it to the council to vote. You know, I can't just pull the trigger on things. And I like that. I like that control over myself, over me, like, being limited. Like, that's the way the government should be. We shouldn't be just squandering taxpayer dollars or any of that crap. But get involved. But the problem is, like, we're too tired. Like, I have put myself in this position with my faith and kind of seeing, like, what I wanted with my life and, like, really meditating on it. The Bible says, write the vision, make it plain, and, like, talking about, like, how to, like, live the life you want to live. And these things are all, like, available to every born-again believer. But you need to study, like, who you really are. And then, like, if we can start doing that, like, we get more people like me that are, like, a little more time-free. They can actually be a little more cognizant of, like, what's going on around them, be aware. Maybe they could start, like, hosting political gatherings and, like, start trying to figure out ways to, like, make their little communities better. And then, like, someone like me, maybe, like, youngish, like, in 20 years, like, we could see good people moving up into, like, higher positions, like state legislature, you know, federal Congress in D.C., and so it's not just a demonic cesspool like Sean Ryan is. He's not wrong. Like, I do think, like, you're put there, the people currently, and it doesn't matter if it's left or right, like, they're put there because they're all, like, part of the same team, which is the team Satan, you know, like, really, that's what it is. Because if it wasn't, like, why have we had, like, so Epstein's been doing this stuff. Let's just go with Epstein alone. Epstein's been doing this stuff, and you can't tell me we didn't know this stuff wasn't happening, like, decades ago already. You know what I'm saying?
He's been arrested a few times.
Exactly. So it's like, we already knew. So the fact that we've had, like, Clinton, Bush, okay, those opposite parts. So you got Clinton, liberal, Bush, conservative, Obama, liberal, Trump, Biden, Trump again. So we've had 3 on each team in office. And, like, currently, you know, the conservatives were the ones that wanted this Epstein thing. Trump ran on that. Dude, we have both houses of Congress. We have we are dominating the Supreme Court right now. And then we have the presidency. We have all 3 branches of the government. The Republicans, let's say. I don't identify as Republican, but I am conservative. Probably more conservative than most Republicans, to be honest. And so it's like, dude, where's the justice for COVID, since we didn't want the COVID lockdowns? Where's the justice? Like, what, you know what? Like, where is that? And then, like, where's the justice for the Epstein stuff?
Do you have any theories about, like, what's happened? Like, because, like, obviously Trump could have came in guns a-blazing,
Oh
And I was
yeah,
talking
dude,
this in
Trump's like Trump. The writing's on the wall. Like I honestly like I don't know if he was like a part of this all the way, and he was just making these promises to drain the swamp, or if like you know he really meant to do that, but then like he was compromised, like with the Epstein stuff. Either way, he's in it right now just to like make money. Like you can watch like his net worth like just skyrocketing right now, and like Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, and Ivanka, his daughter, their net worth's going like through the roof. Did you see about the thing with Albania? Like they were trying to buy a private island with a bunker in Albania,
I
and
heard
like
about it.
these
I don't know anything about it.
bro, the Albanians showed up and like just flipped their shit, like just kicked them out of their country and like would not let them take over this island they were trying to buy. Because like we know what happens when like these political types buy islands, dude. We know what they're gonna do.
What would your theory be like behind why Trump like would turn so quickly? Besides, obviously, he has the power now. It's a money grab, but that's the only
Yeah,
something
he's
you can think of.
compromised. There's already like evidence in the Epstein files that Mossad like put Epstein where he was to then be able to blackmail our leaders, whether it's political, our media leaders, like movie stars and news people. They're all compromised, and all of the same people own both sides of the news networks, like the same peoples, and they're all like Zionists. And I'm not saying Jews. I'm not being anti-Semitic. I'm saying these are Zionists. You can be a Christian and be a Zionist. Like it's not Jews. It's just these Zionistic peoples. So there's evidence like Mossad did this. It was a honeypot. You get evidence of these people like with these hidden cameras of them having sex with kids, eating kids, ripping their teeth out in that dentist's chair so that they wouldn't bite them when they tried to do these heinous things to them. There's like also them like scaring the children like to death and then like killing them and bleeding them out while all the hormones of that like high level fear is in the blood and it makes it taste a certain way. I mean, this is like effed up shit, dude. This is like straight Baal or Moloch, like from the.
So this is like the stuff me and like Josh and I were talking about this stuff back in like 2019.
Yes.
Like, did you know about it back that far back?
No, dude, I am like new to the boat, but
so, like,
at least
this has been a big thing for everybody else, and we're like, dude, this is like. But the weird thing is, it was all geared towards the Democratic Party. Is the thing that was the kicker?
They're just trying to skew it, but the thing you got as a conservative, you need to step back and like realize your platform is effed, dude. They do not care about you as a conservative at all. Like your values don't mean shit to these people. They do not care. Because like we have all those things I was saying. We have all all the branches, executive, judicial, and legislative. We control the whole thing. If we wanted to like kill BlackRock, kill mass surveillance, dude, our GDP, if we were to actually do like the trade agreements Trump really could do, and can end these wars too that he promised he would do with like a single phone call to like Netanyahu and whoever's leading Hamas, like, or Zelensky and Putin, like he was saying, I'll just make a phone call and I know the things to say. Dude, that shit's still going, bro. That stuff's still going, dude. It ain't slowed down. It's getting faster. It's moving faster. They're killing each other faster. It's insane. So like, I don't think he flipped. I think it was just a bait and switch. At some point, like, either he realized he was compromised or he was compromised the whole time and is lying to us. It doesn't really matter. He's lying to us now. That's what really matters. We're being lied to by all sides. Neither one really cares about the people. It's a club. It's an exclusive club. It's like a Costco membership, and you can't buy in. You're never going to get to go in there. So you got to get your gas at like Maverick. Sorry. Can't get the Costco gas, and you know what? You got to go to like somewhere else for your groceries, bro, because you're never gonna get into this Costco club. It's an elitist thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not arguing with you. I think there's some writing on the wall that's happening that if you have to kind of like stop and like look at things from a distance, and like this war that's happening right now with Iran. I mean, all the things you're saying lead into like why Trump would be supporting Israel. I totally get that. Sure. The things that don't scare me, but the things that bother me are the things that aren't getting talked about. How these shipping supplies that got halted during the time when they did, Like there's crop seasons that need soil and they need seeds for certain things that it was necessary to get them by a certain time. And when those get backed up and they don't get there in time, we as Americans are going to suffer in the future when it comes to cost of vegetables and produce. And I'm sorry, produce and fruits and all these different things that we are going to, you're going to want. But now when they start going up to a bigger price than they are now, like we're going to really start to hear how bad things are when it's really, it takes away someone's food and water. That's when we're really going to find out what people are made of.
You got about 48 hours, depending. Like most families live within a week, and that's only like if they're able to use the canned stuff they haven't looked at and it's probably expired. You got a week to 2 weeks tops, I say, depending on the family. Like some Mormons, like to their credit, like I love Mormons. Like I grew up Mormon. I was Mormon until I was 31. And I, to a degree, like there's vestiges of Mormonism in my brain, like the way I kind of prepare still, like for the apocalypse, because Mormons were all about like the 6 months food supply, and honestly, that's like one of the dopest things I think I've ever like heard in my life, especially like waking up about a year ago to like the political like schemes, because I was all like just MAGA. I never bought the hat, thank God, but like. I was MAGA, like, dude, like, I'll admit it. I voted for Trump all 3 times. Like, I'll admit that. I don't apologize for it. I just dealt and lived with what I knew. But, like, to my credit, at least I, like, woke up and I can at least admit, like, that was a mistake for sure. Like, kind of like Sean Ryan, like, I'll never put my faith in anyone else again either. And that's not biblical anyways. Like, don't put your faith in princes. Like, I get it. I was wrong. But at the same time, it's like, it doesn't matter. I mean, I can't go back and change anything. It's about, like, where we go forward. But they're gonna like the food prices are gonna go through the roof. Honestly, one of the best things I think. This is gonna sound horrible. This might even like you might have to take this off at YouTube because you're probably gonna get flagged. But one of the best things that happened, and I'm not condoning murder. One of the best things that happened was like when that Luigi guy went out and smoked that healthcare CEO. Did you see all of a sudden they were moving forward a lot of insurance claims and honoring them? Like the insurance claims, the insurance claims went through the roof across the board, not just with his own company, but all of them. And I'm at the point where I'm not condoning violence, but at the same time, I'm like, if reaching out and touching a few people that are important is what's going to take. I have a friend that's all about like, dude, he's just all about like, dude, we're just not tar and feathering enough people. Because we're not doing. I mean, look at Fauci's thing. He's just pleading the fifth and smiling on camera.
Well, he's untouchable.
If that guy got touched, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying I want to do it. I'm not condoning that. I don't believe in that. But I honestly don't think we're far from that. I honestly like that. Some people will say that's the only way we're going to get our country back, and I honestly can't say I disagree. Again, I'm not condoning that, but like at the same time, it's like. And if you're a Christian, like, you better look into like what swords to start buying, like according to like what Jesus is saying. That's what I would be doing.
So like this entire time,
that's what I'd be doing, man. Because like, dude, like unless you have like supernatural high elements of faith, and you can believe God to like bring you food provisions the way He did with the Israelites with quail and manna from heaven. Like it's gonna get nasty quick when food prices are like through the roof because supply and demand is not there. Supply is not.
I totally
there.
agree with you. I agree with you, and like there's a kind of the weird thing about this whole process of us talking about almost everything we've talked about tonight is for me, I wasn't informed whatsoever. Like I was the guy when you said sports is an idol, like that was my jam. Like sports was my thing. I watched all the time, and I never even like looked online for anything, even news. And so I'm going to show you this right now, this little article that just came out, and see what you think about it, because I just started reading comments recently, so I want to hear what you just have to say about watching this.
Cool.
It's come true now. There's data. There's facts now. Turns out, that internet theory was right. AI agents are eating the web, growing by nearly 8,000%, outnumber humans online. They likewise are struggling to answer when the flip happened or what metrics to use to measure it. So Cloudflare just released this report. It's Thal's Bad Bot Report. Okay. And they detail this out. I read through a lot of it. I have their kind of bullet points or key findings. Okay. And this is what they have come up with, is that there are 17.2 trillion. Okay. That's the number of bot requests that blocked by fails in 2025. 21% bot attacks targeting business logic. The percentage of internet traffic made up by bad bots. So this is not just bots and just bad bots.
Right.
40%. 40%. Okay. 12.5 times the year-over-year increase in AI-enabled bot attacks. The percentage of AI bot attacks targeting retail sites is up 20%. 53% of all internet traffic is made up of bots. Okay. Simple bot attacks accounted for 42% of their findings. The percentage of bot attacks using Chrome to appear as legitimate traffic. So they're now modeling websites completely, and this is bots, AI technology, completely masking itself as legitimate websites, as legitimate browsers, as legitimate retail stores. 41% increase of this.
Yeah.
24% of bot attacks targeted financial services. The 47% of internet traffic is attributed to human traffic. Bot attacks targeting APIs is 27%. It's been absolutely insane. Now, Cloudflare, which is the internet security and performance giant used by millions of websites worldwide, says the crossover occurred in June, with bots generating 57.5% of web page requests. Thales, a French tech group that protects data security for organizations and governments, dates the crossover back to 2023, issuing a bad bot report that put bot traffic at 53% in 2026. The discrepancies reflect that there's no one standard way to measure bot traffic, as no single provider has access to activity across the entire web, according to Rudy Yang, PitchBook's enterprise and retail fintech analyst who wrote the firm's July report about agentic AI traffic. They say, quote, there's a lot of missing pieces of information, but a lot of the observed data suggests the same thing, which is like there is more bot activity, Yang told Fortune. Agentic AI activity is driving a lot of the browser activity you're seeing. And so this makes me think, dude. It makes me think. It's like, I like to troll, and I troll heavily, right? And every now and then I'll get fucking hit, and like, but it really solidified this idea that like there is a almost 60% chance at this point in time that I might be going back and forth with is not real at all.
No, this is all new. I have known that, like, I had a talk with my friend. He's my jiu-jitsu coach. Actually, it was today. We were talking earlier about, like, there's like doom scrolling, and then there's also just like what we've heard earlier. We were talking about like just kind of entrapping you. Like when he was talking, that same guy was talking about like launching his business back in '99 compared to today, and like the work like load versus now, because now we inundate ourselves and we don't know how to like walk away from work. It's the same kind of stuff, like the entrapment, like casino. It's like a casino on your phone. Like remember casinos, like when you ever go in, they don't have windows and there's no clocks because they don't want you knowing like, holy shit, like bedtime at my house with my kids to put my kids to bed was like 4 hours ago. Like you just blow through your money like crazy. So it's one of the same types of things. They just want us distracted. It's all of this comes down to like, I don't know. You like the movie Gladiator with Russell Crowe? It's one of my favorites. The whole thing is a masterpiece, but one of the best parts are those little things. There's Senator Gracchus, and he's coming into the arena, the Colosseum, and he criticizes the emperor. He's like, we have all these problems politically in our country, but what does the emperor do? He distracts them, with bread and circuses. And this is a very common thing. Like the Roman historian who lived like the 1st century AD, his name's Tacitus. He goes heavily into like the histories of like Rome, like the city, like the capital of the empire, and how these like bread and circus tactics is like used over and over and over. And he was a historian right before the time of Marcus Aurelius, which is when the Gladiator like movie was themed, like 160 AD, I want to say. It's like he lived and died like roughly 2 generations before the events of the movie. And of course, the movie, like, the stuff is fictitious, but like Marcus Aurelius was a person who lived. You can actually read a lot of his like meditations. You can get them for free on like just Google search like Marcus Aurelius meditations PDF or on YouTube. People will read them.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and they're incredible. But like, dude, there were so many people awake back then too that wrote and articulated the whole point of this stuff is distraction. Now we carry the distraction in our pocket. Like, the bread and circuses is here. Like, you want to watch your sports crap here. You want to get entrapped into negative, like, doom scrolling or conversations with bots. Be my guest. It's right here. You know? It's like me, I don't really comment hardly at all. And if I do, like, I just make it something funny on, like, a funny meme. Like, you know, a kid saying something funny, like, whatever. Like, super silly. Like, I don't even like political stuff on my social media much. And if it is, it's just a thing for me to kind of see what's trending so I can kind of like do my back end research, like however much time I need to do it, and like, or even just evaluate, like, is this trending thing even like worth anything, like according to God or like the Bible, or to me personally, like, do I even care about this? Because like some trending stuff's just retarded, like straight up, like Beanie Babies, that was a trending thing, but that was just retarded. It was just another silly thing. I don't even like think it was like a political distraction, although it did distract people. You know what I mean? It's just like there's a lot of stuff that's just trendy, that's just funny, like Pokemon 2, maybe. I don't know, and maybe there was a design to that to like distract us from like what's important. I don't know. I'm just spouting off here. I don't even know where I'm going.
I think that to me it's crazy because I didn't pay attention to the comments at all, and then there's things that like as I've dove into this farther, and I'll start to see anything that I feel like there's a political objective to it, or they want to have an angle to things, and you start to read it, that's when those chat sections get real heated. And it's the things where, like, for me, it's like when my common sense kicks in and I say, this doesn't sit right with me, and my view goes against everything in the comment section, like 99% of it. I'm like, whoa, I'm really the only person that feels differently about this. And I feel like we don't have a lot of leaders in this country that want to step up and say when things are not okay. And I think that's a lot of people. Like, a lot of people will not stand up and say something's wrong until the first guy in the room says, hey, I don't think this is right. And then the minute one person does it, you'll have a lot of people follow suit. It takes one brave person to stand up because a lot of people are like, I think they all agree with this. But if you have the power of having 60% of the internet comments at your disposal to say what you wanted to say, like, they're not using it to comment in my videos. Like, right now, like, we're getting a few comments and I always appreciate them, but like, it's not.
Let's get some of the bots to help boost our viewership. Let's do it.
Well, I mean, if I'm going to use the bots, I'm going to use it to promote who Jesus is, Like, exactly. That's what I would use it for. Yeah, whenever there's something going on here, just put your faith in Jesus.
Exactly. Comments will boost viewers. It's all a crazy thing. And then there's also, like, these, like, I don't know what it's called, but they're like a farm, like, where you can, like, I've seen these warehouses in our country and China.
There's a video I saw of it. It's like a whole room just full of phones.
Yeah,
and they're
tons
all
of used
tired
phones,
wires and
like massive cooler AC units because the heat they put out, like, isn't. I mean, you've seen your phone. If you leave your phone on, like, you watch a long video on there, and you have the case off, especially, you can feel the phone itself in your hand. You feel like it warm because it's a computer and you're running it like nonstop for like a couple hours. You watch a movie on your phone, let's say, like a 2-hour movie, she'll get kind of hot, So like imagine like tens of thousands of them trapped in a room. Like, they'll have these big AC units just to keep them from like overheating, and then like people like patrolling like a hallway monitor, making sure they're all like running good and stuff. I'm like, yo, that's like next level. Imagine doing that with like your YouTube channel and like just streaming it over and over to get viewers, and then putting them all like to a different IPN, a VPN, so like it looks like you got viewers from all over the world, and it tricks the algorithm for YouTube. Like, that's the level like some of these people will stoop to like create these like fake businesses. Like, it's not organic, it's fake, obviously. Yeah. Like, you can start from square one. Like, I think Mr. Beast kind of like is one of those people. I don't really like him by any means. There's a lot of other things I think that he's, anyways. But like, at least he kind of got big, I would say, to a degree, because his stuff looked kind of organic and raw, and he was really crappy at it, but he just kept at it. And like now, it's like it's insane. It's over the top, but and I don't know if he's like really trying to help people or just get views. I don't know him. I've never really watched him. I don't want to judge that. I'm not going to touch that. But I did see some of his old stuff, and I thought, man, it's really admirable. Like he did it organically. Like he pushed. It seemed like, and made content like the organic way, and looked at ways to like organically use the algorithms for his benefit. I think these bot things are just another entrapment type thing, like to waste your time, suck you into arguments that don't even matter because you're arguing with like nothing. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, part of it, like the crazy thing about everything changing, at least what viewed like to me since 2020 and the pandemic, is I started like seeing that people started like talking about politics a lot more. That was one big thing that was changing, and then the political views that followed would be social, meaning like you had to start picking sides of what you believed in, and so like automatically, I feel like Christians. Like I said before, like if you sign up for a platform and you like something that's Christian, it's going to start feeding your algorithm into things that thinks you like. And the weird part is it's not. I think it's right about a lot of it, and I think that it stereotypes like people who are going to be pro LGBTQ. It's you might not be associated with any of it. It might not be something part of your lifestyle. But maybe you support it because you know somebody that's it, and you're like, well, I support it. Or you're just like for human rights, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just going to completely identify you in that area where like the people I know that are on left that I get along with and are friends, a lot of it has a lot of the things we see in this world. Like I get along and we agree on most things. Like if I were to sit down and talk to anybody, especially parents, and say, hey, I just want my kids to be safe. I think that'd be pretty universal. Everyone would be like, yeah, I want my kids to feel safe. I want them to grow up in a free country. I want my kids to grow up in a free country. I think a lot of the things we'd meet together on, and we'd say, I want to be able to have a good wage to live off of and have, a bright future for my kids financially in this country. And we'd all agree upon that. We want to have leaders that are honest and are going to look after everybody, not just the side that we think they're on. And I think everything that's come...
Well, we just used to like it's a war tactic that they now implemented with politics. Like you remember, like going to war, like World War II. Like we'd have like derogatory terms for like Germans or for Japanese because we're trying to like dehumanize them. So it made it easy. Like there was this story we watched about a German pilot. He could have been an ace if he had shot down this one like B-17 bomber. But this thing was like shot to hell. It had like one engine out of 4 still running. It had made the run, and it was turned around leaving. And so he was on the ground on his Messerschmitt German plane, refueling, getting ammo. He sees this really wounded bird that got like left behind because she was real slow by the other like flock of planes. And so he takes off out of the airport and he chases it down. He's about to like smack it, get his 5th to earn his like Ace Award or whatever, like 5 planes down in a single battle. And he goes up next to me. He's like, dude, this thing, like, how is this thing in the air? Like looking at this, like it is just beat to hell. He kind of like sees like there's no one running the guns because they're frozen and some are damaged. Some of the dudes are dead. None of the side guns and the turrets and stuff are shooting at him as he's kind of like tailing it. And then they have this like little interaction where he's like telling him to land, and the American's like, dude, we're not landing in Germany. Like, bro, like we're gonna take it all the way back to like, I think they were flying to like Normandy or like England or somewhere like far, back to their base from their end of their run. And anyways, long story short, like the German guy flies next to them to keep his gunners from the ground from shooting up at the Americans, and he basically is escorting them back to wherever they want to go safely until they like get off a German like overhead of Germany and like back to Allied territory. Anyways, that long story short, like it literally said in this video, the Americans buried this story. Like the guy came out and was like talking about how cool of an experience that was, and like don't tell anybody, because they wanted to like demonize the Germans, and which is like hilarious because it's like we got to keep the narrative going. And this is the whole thing with these bots. This is the whole thing with the bread and circuses. Like they want us to like argue like football teams and basketball teams and the World Cup soccer teams, which is also just another distraction. Like, and I love soccer. I didn't watch a single minute of any of the games, and I'm proud to say that. Not necessarily a good pride, but I am proud that I didn't care to like watch something that I used to love so much, because at the end of the day, it's all that stuff. It's all just bread and circuses and distraction. And just like that Senator Gracchus actor in the Gladiator movie said, it's the whole point.
Okay, I want to show. We're going to do one more video.
Okay.
And you were talking about distractions, and it's a perfect segue. And I just want to get into this last video.
So before we get to the good stuff, I do want to cover the alien topic again.
Okay.
I think it's a dark topic, and I have an inclination that's already been put out in messaging that the aliens wrote the Bible to control humanity. That's already a narrative that's being spread.
Right.
We have the timeline of events here that's going on. I'll read them real quick. And the timeline seems to be speeding up. Here's the last couple of months. March 2026, Vice President Vance says publicly he believes UFOs are demons. The spiritual read reaches the second highest office in the country. May of 2026, the U.S. government releases UFO files in splashy headline-grabbing fashion. Disclosure moves from fringe to official. Late May, a group of charismatic pastors claims U.S. officials met with them and warned them to prepare their churches for the theological implications of disclosure. May 29th to June 3rd, Stephen Rossetti posted video. Most UFO sightings are, in fact, demons.
Right.
Cardinal Melroy removes him at Washington, D.C.'s exorcist within days.
Right.
June 7th, Spielberg on CBS Morning frames the faith question for a mass audience. Is God our God only on this planet? June 12th, Disclosure Day opens nationwide in a film which the government releases UFO files mirroring real events 3 weeks earlier.
Right.
Why are we seeing this sudden fascination within our government in a sped up timeline in UFO and disclosure release, along that coincides with Hollywood?
I want you to answer that question. Why are we seeing that, Trevor? Because you and me, we don't touch on the supernatural too much. Me and Josh, we get into it when we talk on the podcast, and I feel like it's something you don't dive into too much.
For aliens, like, there's a quote that was basically, it was given in like the 40s, I want to say, but they said, of all the distractions, can I have a second?
Yeah, look it up. I just feel like I wanted to hear your opinion on this, because I kind of stick to more political stuff with you, because me and Josh don't dabble into that. And I was actually pretty caught up in this for a minute, because I was excited about the disclosure thing, because I wanted to see what videos they were going to put out. But also the charismatic pastors he's talking about, it's a lot of the podcasts that I listened to. And so as this was getting introduced and became national news, I listened to a lot of these guys. And I'm like, holy moly, these guys they're not big time YouTubers. They're small time. They're people that have less than 1 million subscribers, but they're very popular for YouTube. But I just like their charismatic, like, they're open to spiritual things and talking about it and speculating. It's not like it's all hard facts where they're saying like you have to believe something, but I believe that like there's something more to it, because like it's in the Bible. I'm like, why am my entire life I just scoffed at and laughed at all this stuff. But as you and I are talking, and you're talking about distractions, and you just mentioned it quite a few times talking about Gladiator, how like we're so easy to distract. And I one clip that I'm leaving out is like there's actually a Bible prophecy that's being fulfilled right now in the Dead Sea. They're finding new water sources coming into it, and there's life growing there. And in the Bible, I might have to look this up too, but it talks about in the end times there will be life in the Dead Sea. And just the more I've given my life back to Jesus, as these timeline of things we talked about, literally my life changed enough to where the Epstein files happened. I saw what happened with that. It opened my eyes to wanting to get more involved in politics because I wanted things to be better, to realizing there was no cause to that and I'm not going to make a difference. And instead of giving my life to a politician and my time to a politician, I gave my life to Jesus again. And I'm just throwing out there that if I'm going to give my life to Jesus and read the Bible and say it's truth, then there's spiritual things happening. And for me, I'm more willing to believe that they're demons as opposed to aliens. But I feel like if there's something going on with this, it's they're building up to something bigger, either just to distract us for now. And Trump looks like the hero before midterms. He's putting out these alien videos like, I'm giving you what you wanted. See, I'm a good guy. Or they're leading us into something bigger. So did you find what you were going to look up?
Yeah, I'm going to go here. So, German aerospace engineer, member of the Nazi Party, and then grabbed into the Operation Paperclip with an IQ of 180. Werner Magnus Maximilian Feder von Braun states, supposedly upon near his death, as a warning to his friend spokesperson Carol Rosen, that a staged alien invasion would be the final card in a plan to justify weaponizing space. He stated that world leaders would sequentially fake threats from nations, terrorists, and asteroids before using extraterrestrials as the ultimate excuse. And basically the quote was this. It says, the last card they play will be the alien card, and it's all a lie. I've never really cared about the alien thing because, quite frankly, I would just kind of treat them like a foreigner in a sense. I would just, when you go to a foreign place and you meet someone with a whole different, I have a lot of experience meeting people from I spoke and had a 15-minute conversation with a cannibal from New Guinea. I've had some very strange conversations. I can't imagine what a conversation, if I could even try to attempt one with an alien. But to me, it's I don't know if I believe that it's a full-blown distraction or an excuse to kind of weaponize space, like Werner von Braun saying in his quote there. But the fact that he was intimately aware of what's happening in space at the cusp of the space race and Operation Paperclip in the 40s and 50s, 60s, and people with high IQs, I have a really high IQ myself. But mine even still pales in comparison to his, numerically speaking. I'm within 40 points though. I'm less than 40 points away. But dude, that's insane. And some of these really, 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 really sharp people, just they can put together so much just outside of the scope that most people like us can't even try to do. So I look at space stuff and aliens. I don't know. I just don't know. I could totally see it being what he's saying, for sure. But am I going to go out there and just say aliens are all fake and gay and it's just another joke and it's just some sort of power scheme? I don't necessarily feel comfortable saying that either. I just don't know. Yeah. And to me, it's I don't I already know there's a bunch of fake and gay shit going on that I need to be more aware of and cognizant of. How are we going to procure healthier food? If the aliens come and if that's the case and they're gonna just genocide humanity, then whatever, so be it at this point. I don't even care. I'm not not gonna fight, but it's dude, our country's already got so many problems. Dude, why are we just piling more stuff on? And so that's why I think it's probably just a distraction.
Have you heard of Project Bluebeam?
No. Is that the thing with the roofs, the shooting lasers down to start fires?
No, Project Bluebeam is it's going to be a staged alien event where when the rapture happens and all the Christians are taken, they're going to need a reason, and they're going to have and there's
they're going to
paraphrase because I don't remember everything. Yeah, they're gonna say it's
But
aliens were involved in it, and they'll even come to say that they were our Christ, like they made us
yeah, and I've heard
and wrote
some
the
theories
Bible.
of that, like aliens came down and helped build the temples and stuff, and that's why they think like Mormons, because they believe the temples in Mexico were like Mormon temples, from the Book of
Hmm.
Mormon, like actual Christian temples, which there's no actual geological evidence of that, but we do know they were sacrificing humans when Cortez showed up in Mexico City. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Like to me, my gut is that it's a distraction or an excuse of some kind. Maybe like you said, for like a raptured event or something to explain it away, so that the people left behind can still be manipulated and controlled. At that point, hopefully, I'm just up there raptured because I just don't want to worry about that shiz at that point.
Well, that's kind of why I wanted to get your opinion about it, because I knew it might differ from, say, like when I'm talking to Josh, or if I talk to somebody else. Like I just knew yours would be a little bit different, but and yours was.
Well, yeah, and to be fair, like I'm sorry, I don't have like a strong opinion about it. Like I wish I did. I'm not a kind of person to make an opinion when I don't really know much, and I'll flagrantly say like I just don't know much about this, and partly that's my choice. Like it's just one of those things that I just personally don't like. And maybe if I had a conversation, we had more in-depth conversation that like point me in like a why I should get care, then maybe I would.
Yeah,
Kind
yeah.
of like the flat Earth. It's like the flat Earth thing. Like I have a friend that's like hardcore about it, and he's like, "Well, they're lying to us. That's the point." And I'm like, "Well, look, if they're lying to me, I already know that. Like, I don't need to know that the Earth is flat or not to know my government sucks, and they don't care about me, and they're lying to me. Like, bro, I don't need that. But if there was
Right.
something else, like, and so there's some people with flat Earth theories, and I'm not trying to jump into this, but they think like Antarctica is like a pass to get out into like greater parts of the flat world where there's other civilizations, but they trap us. Now that
Right.
would be intriguing. Like that's true. There's other like to us like in our known world, other parts that are unknown and cultures that we don't know about because it's like in this secret part of the planet or flat Earth or whatever that we can't get to because they're blocking it via Antarctica.
Hmm.
Hey, that's intriguing to me. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I don't have the money to go down to Antarctica, try to like get through the pass if it's there. I'm not sure I really care to. I don't really. I mean, I like the cold to a degree, but I mean, damn, it's cold down there. So
I just, for me, like the alien stuff, one thing that always gets me is there's never like a good video or a good like evidence of it. And so like with all the cameras we have now, you'd think there'd be something by now. Even in the government's sharing stuff, and it's supposed to be. I think they've had 3 drops of the files now that they've shared, and some of it's not even UFOs. It's like what is like it's kind of garbage,
yeah,
like flares and whatnot. And you're like, what are they trying to pull? Because like I mean, there was more stuff in the Epstein file, and we all were pretty mad about that file because it didn't share what we thought should have been exposed. And so I don't know. I thought it could be a distraction.
yeah. So
Um,
two scriptures to kind of keep in touch with this. First, like Paul. I don't remember where this is, but you can pull it up later and put it on underneath my face while I'm talking. Paul calls God, the devil, the God, little g, God of this world, because we talk about like the keys to the earth were lost when Adam fell, like the authority over the planet. They were taken, like he was deceived into giving like authority over the earth. That doesn't so it doesn't mean God isn't powerful, but now he has to use us to like invoke it, and Jesus had to come to get those keys given back. And that's why like a born again believer is like so powerful because they have the keys to the earth. But if you go to Hebrews 11:3, it says by faith we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, going back to like the Genesis 1:1, like in the beginning God created the heavens and he spoke and he used his words to create them. But the universe, like when you look at the universe, like what does that mean? Like what does the universe mean? That's like all the galaxies lumped together, dude. Like so God created that, but like so like none of this is outside of his like wheelhouse, if that makes sense. But that doesn't mean like evil doesn't happen. But to the Bible verse of Paul's not calling Satan the God of the universe though. He calls him the God of this world, like earth. So like just keep that in mind, like there maybe are other planets in the universe that have humanoids of some kind or humans just like us. I don't know. If something happened, like some alien came and like down and like I saw it plain as day, like landed in my yard and stuff, like I'd be pretty like, shocked, but I'm not going to be like, wow, that could never happen. Probably I'm desensitized by like all the movies we watch, like Independence Day with Will Smith, all the other alien movies, like we're a little desensitized to this too. Or we're like hopped up on it. And maybe they don't exist. Like, I don't know. I just don't see like someone needed to sit me down and like tell me like the point and like why I would want to deep dive this. But at this point, like it's not like I don't care. It's not like it's not interesting. It's not like I don't enjoy the conversation. I'm sorry, I just don't have a lot of depth here for you. But there's a little bit. So
we'll have you on again, and we're going to talk about your cannibal story because I don't think we got to it ever. I'd like to hear that story.
No, it's a quick one. I just chatted with the dude like in Hawaii. Like I just ran into him like in a line somewhere at a restaurant, and we ended up just chatting. And yeah, we could go into details, but it wasn't.
You were in a restaurant with a cannibal? That's like a start of a joke.
Yeah. Well, I was bigger than him, and I was really jacked, and I was playing soccer, so I was really in good shape. So the worst case scenario, dude, if this dude wants to like swing on me, try to eat me, like, I mean, I ain't coming easy, bro. I'm not gonna be easy. No, he was cool. They do it for like their warriors, like so. There are all these intertribal fights still happening over there, and so like you eat the flesh of your enemy more of a ritual than you are like sustenance.
Gotcha.
You're taking his mana, his like power on battle, and like absorbing it into yourself, so you're more strong. And all the men he's killed now become like in you, like strong. Is like the thought there with that. There's a lot of
a big difference if they're not doing it to like survive or like because
no.
I've watched a video about some people that are cannibals before.
Yeah, and there are that, but like in the islands, like the Maori, I believe may have been cannibals too. The New Zealand natives at one,
like in the Amazon, there's some there are people that like
it's
hard to get food sometimes, so they kill people and they'll eat them instead of just letting them rot. They'll eat them.
Yeah, they're like literally like human cattle, like like you would hear like vampires in stupid vampire movies, like they're drinking humans' blood. Well, we do that too in real life, I guess, on Epstein Island.
This is what I propose. You come back on and we'll try and do some. I'll try and figure out some alien things to show you, and if you feel like you get informed by it, maybe you can give an opinion about it, or you can say it's complete BS.
Yeah, I'll start poking around. Around. But my gut, I've seen that quote by Werner von Braun like ages ago, and so like when I see Joe Rogan like just going like spending hours talking about it, and all his viewers are like, ooh, I'm kind of like, I just hold to that quote. I don't necessarily say I believe it either. It's just something I think about. I'm always thinking about like you said, like what are we not talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe they're throwing aliens out because some seedy, like shady stuff's going on, like that we don't know about.
Well,
it has something to do with something else, like our food supply or something.
When they brought the alien stuff out, I was talking to Josh about it. And we said it's a distraction from getting us away from the Epstein files because it was so hot and heavy when people were getting pissed about it. We had the Iran war and we had aliens right after that. So it's like it's distraction. We're gonna have the elections coming up soon. It's gonna be I mean, I'm checked out. I mean, I'm watching enough stuff to make content, and I want to talk about who God is to me. And I enjoy talking to you and Josh and any of the guys we get. We're gonna have some guests coming up on the podcast soon. So. Trevor, I just want to say thank you for coming on again, and for anyone who doesn't know, Trevor's gonna be like a regular when we can have him on, and we're just gonna say goodnight for now, and God bless you guys, and if you can like, share, or subscribe to the videos, that's great. If you made it this far, we really appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye everyone, love you guys.